Kit Kats can read. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm just going to be sharing with you my revised Emojiathon at TBR. So the Emojiathon was started from the beginning of September, it runs to the end. However, I've had a mass load of changes, taken books them out and swapped them over, mostly for review books if I'm honest. And I did say that it's going to possibly change because it's like a month long. So I'm just going to very quickly share with you all of the TBR all over again, including the books I've had before, so just to refresh you guys. And this is a easy video that I can revert back to remind myself what book I put with what. So first of all, there is the group read, which is I Am Still Alive by Kate Alice Marshall. I'll place a picture over here. The next challenge is a freebie to read whatever you want. So for this one, I've chosen Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan, mostly because of the movie that's just come out, and also everyone is reading it, as well as I'm going to be doing a buddy read of this book this very week with my good friend Greg from Greg Lee's Reads. Hey Greg, I know you're going to be watching, and we're going to be reading this together, and I do better with buddy reads, and he said he was going to be reading this, so I jumped up and was like, I want to buddy read that with you. And I don't have any buddy reads this week, so it's perfect for this challenge. Then the next challenge is to read Letters to the Lost by Bridget Camera. I've already read this, so I don't need to do this challenge. The next challenge is to read a book by your favourite author. So Colleen Hoover is one of my favourite authors, so I'm putting her latest novel to this one, which is All Your Perfects. The next challenge is to read Vinyl by Sophie Elaine Hansen, and I'll place the picture over here. This is one of the host's book choices. The next challenge is to read Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, which is also another one of the host's book choices. And lastly, Out of Beat by Cassandra Giovanni. I'll place the picture over here because I got this as an ebook, and this is another one of the other hosts' book choices. For the challenge of read a book with your favourite colour on the cover, I chose Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry. This is my art copy. I've got it for review, so I thought I would put it towards this challenge. My favourite colour is blue, and blue is on the cover. The next challenge is to read a book that you said you were going to read but you never did. So I put Jinxed by Amy McCullough for this challenge because I put this on my TBR and I said I was going to read it and I didn't get around to reading it, so I thought this would be perfect for this challenge. For the challenge of giving an author a second chance, I have changed this to sort of like reading a second book by this author, and it is a spin-off, but it is from the same world of Simon vs. the Homo sapiens agenda. So this is like the second book, which is kind of a sequel, but it's like a spin-off. And this is Leo on the Offbeat by Becky Orpatelli. So this is my interpretation of Second Chance. The next challenge is to read a diverse book. So towards this challenge, I put Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow by Siobhan Kerhem. In this book, we have Haviz, who is a Syrian, so I just thought this was perfect for this challenge. The next challenge is to read a scary book, so I put Small Spaces by Sarah Epstein on this. This is a book that is about somebody who thinks they can see this imaginary friend who abducts somebody, and it sounds kind of spooky and eerie, and I got it for review, so I thought it would be perfect for this challenge. The next challenge is to read a 5-star predicted book, and so I put Dear Evan Hansen by Val Emmich with Stephen Levinson, Benj Pasek and Justin Paul, and this is another book that I've got for review. It's meant to be one of the best young adult books of the year. I have high expectations of it because it does sound really good, and this book actually comes out in October, I believe, 9th of October, so I'm excited to read it. But I predict that I will give it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. The next challenge is to read a book that you've been seeing everywhere. So during the year of release, I was seeing this book everywhere, which is why I got it in the end, and that is 100 Sideways Miles by Andrew Smith. For the challenge of read a book that takes place somewhere other than where you live, I have plonked on Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco because I do not live from this area that's in this book. and I'm really excited to give this a read because I've heard really good things about it. The next challenge is to read a book that is set in winter. I'm not entirely sure if this is set in winter, but it does have snow in it, so I am sort of like changing this challenge with snow, but if it happens over the winter period, then that would be perfect as well. And this is Anna and the Swallow Man by Gabrielle Savage. This is my ARC edition that unfortunately I didn't get around to reading this book during the time of release, so it's perfect. It's also one of my lists to read before the end of the year, so if I could get this read during this month, it would be really, really good. The next challenge is to read a book that reminds you of a favourite song. Well, it's not really a favourite song, but a song honestly came to mind as soon as I looked at this book. This is All That She Can See by Carrie Hope Fletcher, but it's the bottom tagline that got me singing the song, and it just says, every little thing she bakes is magic. Now, do you guys know that song, that every little thing she does is magic? That one? Yeah. Every time I see this tagline, I'm singing it, and I was singing it literally like as soon as I picked the book up, so I've put that one towards the challenge. The next challenge is to read a book that takes place outdoors. Towards that challenge I put Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. The reason being is it does mention here that they would rather risk life on the outside and when Shay runs away. So they're outside, they're running away, and it does mention them going out. And this would be perfect for this one. And it's Uglies, which I've had, this was my first ever book haul. So the next challenge is to listen to an audiobook, and I'm currently listening to this one at the moment. This is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I'm reading this, but I'm also listening to the audiobook as well, and the audiobook is really, really good. I totally recommend audiobooking this book because the vibe of the book is in the voice of the narrator. It's really good, I totally recommend it. But I'm mostly audiobooking it because I'm reading it, and then when I leave the house I'm listening to the audiobook in my car, which I got from Audible. So I definitely recommend listening to this one, and this is the one that I'm using towards this challenge. The next challenge is to read a book that takes place in college. Now this mentions college on the back in the synopsis, and I think they're just leaving college, but because it mentions college I'm going to include it, and it's on my list of books to read as well. And this is The Moment of Letting Go by J.A. Redmersky. Really looking forward to giving this book a read because I love J.A. Redmersky's The Edge of Never duology. I really love it so much, it's so close to my heart, and so I have really high hopes of reading this book, and I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy it. The next challenge is to read a thriller, and this is a thriller sort of book, and this is Awakened by James S. Murray with Darren Wearmouth. Now this sounds really cool. It's literally, it says here, the silhouette of a train appeared out of the darkness, rolling down a murder tunnel, the doors open and blood is on the inside and the walls and the seats and the floor and everywhere, and there was no passengers left. So it sounds very cool, so I thought this would be perfect for the thriller challenge. The next challenge is to read a book about a social justice topic. So for this one I've put The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and I need to get this read because I feel like everyone's read it because it's, you know, very hyped, and there's a movie that's coming up pretty soon. But yeah, I'm hoping that I really enjoy it. It sounds like it's going to rip my heart out, but I'm looking forward to giving it a read. The next challenge is to read something that's less than 100 pages. So I don't actually have anything that's sort of like less than 100 pages. I could be really sneaky and say that I read the information about this diagnosis of something I have, which is like 11 pages long on A4 sheets, double-sided. So I could say that I read that, but I want to actually read a book. So the closest book that I've got on my TBR of this shelf that's closest to 100 is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now this book is very close to 100 different one. It's like less than 150 pages, so I'm going to include this book for this challenge. 2 challenges left, guys. So the next one is to read a book that takes place on a boat. So for this one I've put Seafire by Natalie C. Parker because it's about female pirates which are on a boat. And the last challenge is to read a book in under 24 hours. So I've placed a book that I'm going to attempt to read in 24 hours, and this is The Price Guide to the Occult by Leslie Walton. And this book is released now, but there's less than 300 pages, and I could read this book in a day. If I really actually sat down on a day off, just started from the morning, I could get this book finished in a few hours time. So I'm going to put that towards the challenge. However, if I do manage to finish any of these other books in 24 hours, I will team up that one with that one and, you know, change that one around, because this is a lot of books to have, and I put a book towards every challenge. I was determined to put a book towards every challenge, and I've managed to, so that's good for me. However, there's just loads of books, and there's no way in my head that I could read all of this in a month. So I'm going to be picking and choosing from these, but I just wanted to put the review books towards challenges, so it didn't make me feel so bad that I was mainly focusing on the review books. So I just wanted to quickly show you guys the revised list of my Emojiathon. So I hope you guys kind of understand like why I've changed it a bit, but just wanted to let you guys know sort of as a near midpoint through the month that I have changed my TBR, and there is that. So there we have it. So I've changed it, but I've managed to wiggle in my review books, which makes me feel so much better that I've managed to put them towards challenges. So when I read these review books, I've read them to a challenge, and I've read a book towards the Emojiathon as well. So it makes me feel so much better. I feel really good. So that is it for my Emojiathon revised TBR. Let me know what you think about these book choices down below in the comments. Have you read any of these books? Let me know what you thought about these books if you read them, or if you haven't read them and they're on your TBR, let me know as well. Let me know if you are participating in the Emojiathon. Let me know what you guys are reading for the Emojiathon. If you've done a video, you can post it down below, or if you have done a blog post it down below and I will check it out, because I always like to know what you guys are reading at the moment. But that's it from me. Keep smiling, keep reading and be happy. My name is Katie, and I'll see all of you wonderful awesome people in my next video. Bye!